Hello, everyone. Thought I would do a quick little reaction to the Goodreads Choice Awards winners. That's harder to say than it looks. Um, I only got to vote in the opening round. My schedule just is insane, and I didn't get very far. But I only was able to vote in three categories because I had only read three of the books that were up. So, most of these are going to be surprises or things that I haven't read. So, first category is Best Fiction. The winner is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I have read books from her before, and I really enjoyed her writing. I haven't had time to read this one yet. It is on my list of things I want to read. Um, I think this one looks like a good one. I'm not surprised it won. A lot of people have been talking about it recently. Uh, Looks like the next one in line was Wish You Were Here, followed by the winners by Frederick Backman, which is the third, I believe, in the Beartown series. I just sent it back to the library because I don't have time. It's really thick. I don't have time to read it right now. But I will be reading that at some point. So that's the top three. Is there anything else in here? I might read Night Crawling. It was up for the Booker. I keep hearing good things about Demon Copperhead, but it's also kind of related to David Copperfield, which is Dickens, and I don't get along with Dickens. I don't know how I will be with Barbara Kingsolver. I haven't decided if I want to read that one yet, but that's a possible to go on my list. Like, the thousands of books that are already on my TBR list that I want to read. What's one more, right? Olga Dies Dreaming, I have heard really good things about. That is one I would like to read at some point. Um, some of these, I recognize author names, but I don't know much about the books. See, I think I probably would have guessed that one would be the winner for the category. Mystery and thriller. I read a lot in this category normally. I seem to have slowed down greatly as far as my reading since I started working again. The winner is The Maid. Not very surprised at that either. A lot of people have been talking about it. Um, but it doesn't look like it was really that huge of a margin, about 8,000 votes. When you consider how many people voted in total, 8,000 is not much. Paris Apartment was second. Richard Osman's The Bullet That Missed, which I believe is the third in that series. Was it the Thursday Murder Club series? Did pretty well. I do want to read that series at some point. I have watched Richard Osman on several British shows that I really enjoy. He's on Pointless and Pointless Celebrities. He's on Richard Osman's House of Games. He makes appearances on a bunch of other shows like Would I Lie to You and QI. And so if you enjoyed those types of shows, the panel shows and the game shows, he shows up in there a lot. So as just a personality, I really enjoy him. I think he's funny. I think he's very smart. And I do want to read his book at some point. I voted for the Book of Cold Cases, which came in 5th. I do want to read Killers of a Certain Age, although I've heard a lot of mixed reviews there. Books with Emily Fox raves about Wrong Place, Wrong Time, and it sounded pretty good, so I would like to read that at some point. Ruth Ware's an automatic read for me once I have time. Greer Hendricks, Sarah Pekkanen, I like their books. They did, what was the title of the one? There's one that I actually got sent to me as an ARC. Oh, it was the one about the girl who works at the makeup counter, and then she ends up, and going to some sort of therapist, and the therapist is wacko. Yeah, it was a pretty good story. I liked it anyway. A lot of people, again, mixed reviews. You either like them or you don't, kind of thing. Lisa Jewell, I heard a lot of good things about her. So it looks like there's some good choices there. Again, not real surprised at the Maid one, because I've heard people talking about it since it came out. But the one book I read in the category this year didn't make it. What's the next category? Historical fiction. Excuse me. I've developed a tickle in my throat, so I will probably be coughing a lot throughout the video, and I apologize in advance. But I do at least have a bottle of water sitting here, so... Oh, come on, was this not responding nonsense? You have to do this in the middle of my video. Best historical fiction. Carrie Soto is back. Not surprised at this one. However, I don't think it's because of the book itself. I think it's because of author. People will vote for anything that Taylor Jenkins Reid writes. I personally feel like she's overrated, which is a very highly controversial opinion. I just don't get on with her books. I was fine with The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and anything I've tried to read it since then, I haven't liked. Well, no, let me take that back. I did like Daisy Jones and the Six. I liked it better than Evelyn Hugo, but she's just now cranking them out. Malibu Rising, Carrie Soto is back. They all have characters that come from those other two books. I tried to read Malibu Rising and just struggled and struggled and struggled. The only parts I liked were the flashbacks between the parents, which was few and far between. It was focused on the kids, and I didn't like any of them. And I ended up DNFing the book. It just was not for me. Lessons in Chemistry, I've heard a lot of good things about. Diana Gabaldon's book, I mean, anything she writes, people who are into Outlander are going to just scoop her up. Kate Quinn tends to write a lot of like World War II related spy kind of stuff with women, if I'm thinking of the right person. I do want to read some of her stuff, I just haven't had the chance yet. Black Cake, I've heard great things about. Violeta Isabel Allende is just, she's a good author. The few things I've had a chance to read, I've really enjoyed. So she's on my list that I want to read. Marriage Portrait, I'm just now hearing some things about, and so far so good. I've got Take My Hand as marked want to read, and I have no idea what it's about. The Bookwoman's Daughter, I want to read that series. It's The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek. Haven't had a chance to read it yet, but it is one I want to read, so I'll go ahead and mark that as a want to read. Hester is kind of a retelling of Scarlet Letter. Last Rose of Shanghai, just the title sounds like something I would like. So we're going to vote, or add to my want to read list based on the title there. Wow, that's a vastly different cover than what I've been seeing online. This is to do with like Wall Street and stuff. And the previous, or the images I have seen of the cover must be the UK cover, because it's like a stack of books and projected onto it is a cityscape, which looks really neat. This is interesting that they've got it in one of those glass bell dome things. Peach Blossom Spring, I don't know anything about. War, migration, power of telling stories, 3 generations of a Chinese family. Oh, I'll probably like that. I tend to like stories that are set in China for some reason, and I like Japanese stories. Maybe I'm Asian at heart. I don't know. This one again has to do with China. For Treasures of the Sky. I think that cover is phenomenal. How the wave is actually the girl's face. I think that is really neat. I hope the book is as good. Okay, next is fantasy. I really don't read a lot of what you would consider hard fantasy or epic fantasy. The stuff I tend to read that falls into the fantasy category tends to be a much lighter fare. Is there a reason we're not going to the page? Click on it. Click. Come on, computer. Take me where I want to go. Best fantasy. House of Sky and Breath. Sarah J. Maas. Cannot stand her writing at all. I forced myself through ACOTAR, the first book, and said I would never read another one of her books. I hated it that much. So not surprised that one. I thought it would be closer with the next entry, Babel. I've heard everybody call it everything under the sun. So, Babel, whatever. Everybody's ranting and raving about how great that book is, and I'm really surprised. It only got 62,000 votes, where Sarah J. Maas got 105,000. And I truly believe it's people are just voting for her name. They're not voting for the book itself. They're voting for her name. Stephen King came in third. Usually anyone that you put Stephen King on wins, but when you put him up against Sarah J. Maas, she's going to win. I mean, it's that kind of a popularity contest. Atlas 6, yeah, people have been talking about that nonstop. War of Two Queens, I don't know. I've never read Jennifer Armentrout. It just doesn't sound like something I'm interested in. Daughter of the Moon Goddess sounds really good. And I know there's a second book now. It's either just come out or is about to come out. Look at that cover. It is stunning. And was it the Fairy Loot edition? Was really even more spectacular. They're just gorgeous books. I thought I had marked that already. Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I'm hearing some good stuff about. I think it sounds like a good one. Legends and Lattes people are raving about, and it's finally being published by a mainstream publisher. It was originally an indie publisher, so it was hard to get a hold of. It's going to have a different cover. But that one sounded really good to me. It sounds up my alley with my culinary cozy mysteries, but this time it's a fantasy instead of a mystery. But it sounds like something I would like. I am actually shocked that Brandon Sanderson is as far down the list as he is, because that's another one that whenever he's on a list, he's usually up at the top. I have no desire to read Brandon Sanderson. Another controversial opinion. Because, you have to like it. No, I don't have to like it. I have no desire to read it. Let's see. Naomi Novik, The Golden Enclaves. Is that part of the one, the Dark Academia series? Can't remember the first book in it. Had a black cover. Or at least the cover I've seen of it had a black cover. Electra. I'm really not into the Greek and Roman gods and goddesses, so I know it falls in, I believe that's probably Greek, and I'm just not interested. Kayake? I don't know what it's about, but I have seen it popping up occasionally. It was born on the full moon under an auspicious constellation, the holiest of positions. Much good it did me. Well, okay. I don't know. The Book Eaters, don't know anything about it. Where Women Were Dragons, don't know anything about it. Nettle and Bone, I've heard about. People love T. Kingfisher. I've never read it. The World We Make, N.K. Jemisin, again, I keep hearing about their stuff, but I haven't read any of it. Yeah, I'm just not all that into. Thistlefoot I'm interested in because the cover looks like the Baba Yaga story, The Head on Fowl's Legs. So I'm curious there. Looks like the next category is romance. And, oh my, it's Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I've read that one. That's the one I voted for. Woohoo! Okay, so 1 out of 3. 1/3 of my votes actually won. I loved Book Lovers. And the other one I read was Beach Read, and I loved it as well. I'm going to try to pick up more of her stuff. I know she's got a new one, either just came out or about to come out. So I'm happy that at least one of the books I liked made it. I think the reason Colleen Hoover didn't win is because they put 2 Colleen Hoovers up, so people had to pick one or the other. And she's got so many fans. But even, I don't know, even combined it wouldn't have made up the 175,000 Emily Henry got. So, well, I'm glad that that one won. Love on the Brain, Allie Hazelwood. I don't know. Every Summer After, Things We Never Got Over, Delilah Green Doesn't Care, Twisted Hate, Terms and Conditions, Hook, Line, and Sinker. Okay, so a couple of these. Hook, Line, and Sinker, Part of Your World, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, I put on my want to read list. Kiss Curse is another one I want to read. The rest of them I don't know enough about to decide yes or no. Let me pause here for just a second. Because, sinuses, I can't have a video without it. Okay, I'm back. We were headed to science fiction next. I was hoping while I was up doing stuff that it would have gone ahead and moved, but apparently not. The Winter, Sea of Tranquility. I've heard lots of good stuff about that. Doesn't sound like anything I'm really interested in reading, but I don't read that much science fiction. Again, I'm agreeing with Books with Emily Fox. They should have had Becky Chambers on here with the second book of the Monk and Robot series. It was really good. That's what I read as far as science fiction. Daughter of Dr. Moreau, Sylvia Moreno Garcia came in second. It's one that sounds interesting to me. Nona the Ninth is the sequel to Gideon the Ninth, I believe. No interest in that. How High We Go in the Dark, I have heard a few people talk about it. It seems like it's getting decent reviews. Upgrade by Blake Crouch has been getting mixed reviews. Kaiju Preservation Society sounds really interesting. If you're not sure about what kaiju are, think Godzilla. Godzilla is a kaiju. Basically, they're these giant monsters. So that one sounded interesting. Dead Silence, Ghost Ship, Salvage Crew, Unspeakable Horrors. So that one sounded interesting to me. Just from reading what's on the cover, the front cover that's pictured here, it kind of sounds a little bit like Firefly, because they were more or less a salvage crew. They ran, the missions and things. So is it something along the lines of Firefly meets horror? Is it like a Reavers type situation? Or am I just completely going way, way, way off track? That's probably more likely I'm way off track. But I think that's why I was kind of interested in it. Hunt the Stars, Ocean's Echo, Station Eternity, Leech, Self-portrait with nothing. That's an interesting title. I don't remember seeing that title before. If a picture paints 1,000 words. Abandoned as an infant on the local veterinarian's front porch, Pepper Rafferty was raised by 2 loving mothers and now at 36 is married to the stable, supportive Ike. She's never told anyone that at 15 she discovered the identity of her biological mother. Oh, now that sounds interesting. Hey now, I was reading that. Her birth mother is Ulla Frost, a reclusive painter famous for the outrageous claims that her portraits summon their subjects' doppelgangers from parallel universes. That sounds interesting. I think I'm going to put that under want to read. And I'll see it later and go, why'd I choose that? Okay, yeah, that description, that caught my interest. What else do we have? Yeah, see, the rest of these, they're just not pulling me in. What do we have for horror? Horror. It's such a hard word to say. Why is it so hard? Horror. Okay, yeah, I've lost what's left of my mind. Very surprised Stephen King didn't take this one. The Hacienda, that one sounded really good. What Moves the Dead, again, Kingfisher. I'm hearing about them all over the place. I've heard mixed reviews on that one, but leaning more towards the good. Hidden Pictures, no idea what it's about, but I clicked want to read on it, so I don't know. Juniper and Thorn, Our Wives Under the Sea, Children on the Hill. I have read a Jennifer McMahon before and I liked it. House of Hunger, I think, is vampiric. The Violence, Just Like Mother, Manhunt. Manhunt is about a society where basically they're getting rid of all the men and there's a lot of trans stuff going on, and they more or less symbolically kill off J.K. Rowling. Gallows Hill. It's about a winery. Small Angels. We Spread, Slit Sharp Teeth. Sundial, I have a copy of. Back over the summer, I apparently won something and ended up with some Catriona Award books, and one of them was Sundial. Haven't read it yet. So far, I think her books are very weird. They're not bad. They're kind of weird. They're not my favorite. I'm just waiting for the audiobook to cycle back around to me. Excuse me. Best Humor. Winner, The Office BFFs, Tales of the Office from Two Best Friends Who Were There. Okay, so I didn't watch the show The Office. I didn't care about it. I saw a few episodes and it was just like, meh, not for me. So, a book about The Office isn't going to appeal to me. Girls Can Kiss Now, Hello Molly, Hannah Gadsby, Idiots. Okay, so the David Sedaris one, which came in 6th apparently, is the only one I read in this category. So it was the only one I felt like I could vote for. I do want to read the Mel Brooks one. I thought I had that marked, but apparently I didn't, or unless maybe a different version. It drives me nuts. Every version you gotta click on it. So if you've clicked on a version of it, it may not be marked as want to read. If that makes any sense. I don't know. I don't know. This stuff's not jumping out at me. I like humor, but these are more memoirish humor, and if you don't know the person, you're not going to be like, ooh, let me read that. Best nonfiction. Brene Brown's been everywhere lately. Ooh, Unmasked. That's the one I really wanted to read. I haven't had a chance to yet. I'm waiting on the audiobook. This is more my thing. I like true crime. I don't care about Atlas of the Heart. I think it's probably like pop psych stuff, and it's just not my thing. What else is listed here? All the Living and the Dead. That one sounded really good. I'm going to end up with so many more books on my TBR. I'm just never going to get to them. Myth of Normal. How to Be Perfect. Immense World. Bittersweet. Trayvon. Rogue sounds interesting, but it sounds like it's right up my alley. Taste of Poison sounds really good. I know that's the one that Emily Fox chose. And when she was talking about it, I thought, yeah, that really sounds good. That's what I want to read. So there's a few there that I want to read. I just haven't gotten to them yet. Does this sound familiar? I feel like I say the same thing on each one of these categories. I'm not surprised that I'm glad my mom died one, because everybody's talking about it right now. I refuse to read a book that has that title. No, absolutely not. The title is offensive to me. Diaries of Alan Rickman coming in second. I'm of mixed feelings on that one. I think it got published as a money grab, because if he wanted that stuff published, he would have done it himself. You don't wait until somebody dies and then publish their diary. Obviously, it was stuff he didn't want out there. Diaries are private. So I'm really of mixed feelings. I'd like to know what's in it, but I also don't feel like I should support the exploitation there. Viola Davis, I think she's phenomenal. I want to read that. I'm hearing decent stuff about the Matthew Perry book, but I don't care about him. Selma Blair really impressed the hell out of me when she was on Dancing with the Stars this past season. And I'm sad she ended up having to quit for health reasons, because she was good. And, I mean, she was starting with a deficit, being, having the MS and all, and it eventually became too much. And I totally agree with her choice. She said, I need to be able to take care of my child, and I need to be able to function. And the more I dance, the more it's damaging my bones and muscles, and even though I'm loving dancing, I need to be able to, salvage what I can, and it's more important for me to be able to walk and take care of my child than it is to compete. So she left, and I completely agree with that. That's one of the reasons I left my job last year, technically in January is when I left it officially. But I was injured on the job, and I value my ability to walk. What is that noise? What was that noise? I don't know if y'all could hear it. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Anyway, I valued my ability to walk more than that job. I figured I would eventually find something else to take its place. And, I think I did the right thing. It was a health issue. Somebody was going to get hurt, whether me or another crew member or, a customer in one of the stores. Somebody was going to get hurt. And it just wasn't worth it. Okay, history and biography. The winner was Bad Gays, A Homosexual History. I'm just intrigued. I think it's very interesting, and I have a lot of friends who are at various points on the LGBT spectrum. My son, Neko Fluttershy, is non-binary, gender fluid. So, I'm curious, and I'm very intrigued, and I think it's interesting that that's the one that won. But it looks like the top 3 books were all fairly close. 22,711 votes. The next one was 22,265. So, around less than 500 votes difference. And then the next one was 21,891. So, within 1,000 votes are your top 3. I think that's really a pretty close race there. I'm interested in The Escape Artist, which came in 4th. It's about a man who was able to get out of Auschwitz. Some of these, I'm not sure what they're about. This one's about the history of Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's on my want to read list because I was trying to win a copy because I thought my brother would like it because he used to do some D&D stuff. Agent Josephine sounds interesting. It's about Josephine Baker, I believe. River of the Gods, Shine Bright, Scandalous Hamiltons. Founding Father's disgraced descendant in the trial at the dawn of the... Prisoners of the Castle, Bad Mexicans, Rise, Revolutionary, Gangsters versus Nazis, Dangerous Rhythms. That might be interesting. Jazz in the Underworld. American Midnight. Civil... Oh, Democracy's Forgotten Crisis, 1917 to 1921. Okay, so this is First World War era. This is going to be a long video. I didn't think it was going to take me this long to get through the list. Yeah, Heartstopper. Everybody's talking about Heartstopper. I'm not interested. Lord of Olympus, Demon of the Wood, Oddball, Saga. I tried reading the first Saga one and I just could not get through it. Killing, Stalking, Deluxe Edition, Volume 1. Mature rated boys love horror webtoon. Global manhwa hit. Tells me absolutely nothing without clicking to see more. Chef's Kiss. That's interesting because I have a romance novel on my Kindle or Overdrive that is called Chef's Kiss. Yeah, I need to know more about some of those before I can decide if I want to read any of them. I do read a fair amount of graphic novels and manga and manhwa and whatever else falls under that. Poetry, I'm real iffy about poetry. I've heard great things about the Ocean Vuong one, which came in second. Amanda Lovelace, I tried reading her stuff, and I just don't jive with it. It's not my style. But I mean, not that it's bad. Poetry is so subjective. You get out of it, everybody gets something different, and it just didn't. It wasn't the style of poetry I enjoy. I'll just say it that way. But there's nothing wrong with it, and people love it, so that's great. We need more poetry in the world. I just don't know. Debut novel. Lessons in Chemistry. I have heard so much good stuff about this, and this is going to be mostly stuff that we've seen other places. Let's see here, Daughter of the Moon Goddess came in second, so it did better here than it did in its own category. The Maid came in fourth, where it won its category. Yeah, this is all stuff that we've seen other places. Nothing new here. Young adult fiction. I find that I'm getting away from young adult. There's still a few things that I'll pick up here and there, but Final Gambit, not real surprised. It's like the third book, I believe, in a trilogy, the Inheritance Games. I might read The First to Die at the End. It's amazing how much that cover looks like they both die at the end. Which is I don't know if it's a sequel or a companion novel. You can't really have a sequel if all your characters are dead. So it's supposed to be like a companion novel in the same universe. Rita Sepetys, I haven't read any of her stuff. I don't think I have. I may have read one, if she's the one that wrote the one about the Jewish people going to the concentration camp and freezing to death and stuff, which broke my heart. She writes things I want to read. I just haven't done it yet. I fell in love with hope. Okay. Family of Liars. I haven't read We Were Liars yet, so I don't know if I want to read more of that. I like Karen M. McManus, so she's obviously on my list of things I want to read. Some of these I have no idea what they're about. Young adult fantasy and sci-fi. Gallant. That one sounded like it might be interesting. Kingdom of the Feared is one I want to read. I want to read that whole series. I haven't had a chance to yet. That was... Yeah, that's the third one in the Kingdom of the Wicked series. Belladonna, I think, is a beautiful cover. And it sounded interesting. No interest in Brandon Sanderson. Cursed, Marissa Meyer. We'll definitely have to look at that one, because I like her stuff. Is this part of... No, this is part of a different series. Book 2 in the Gilded series. I didn't know there was a Gilded series. Now I'm going to have to find book 1. But I do like Marissa Meyer. Let's see here. I get so sleepy. Magic Steeped in Poison. I'll have to read more into that. I'll put it on the list for now. If you could see the sun. I don't know. I've been reading more middle grade lately. I guess I kind of go through cycles, but the middle grade I've been reading has been closer to graphic novel than regular stories. I will probably eventually read the Amari books. Witchlings looked good. I will probably eventually read the Ira Shaw books. The best gift for Bear. That sounds cute. See if I can track it down at the library. I've picked up a couple books from the library. I plan to do a couple more of my story time videos. But see, not knowing what these books are about, not really wanting to take a whole lot of time right at the minute to, look into it closer. At least we have an idea of the things that won, and how other things fell out. Obviously, the stuff I read didn't do so well. Only one out of the three won anything, and the other two were buried pretty far down the list. I agree with a lot of people that is basically a popularity contest. If you haven't read the books, you shouldn't vote. I mean, it's not fair to just vote because you like the author, so I'm going to vote for their book no matter what, whether I've read it or not, whether it's good or not. I'm going to vote for that person because I like that person. Okay, that's fine and dandy, except that this is a book award. Book award. And, authors, yeah, it feels good to win something. But if you're not winning it for the quality of your work, you're just winning it because people like your name or recognize your name and they haven't read it, is it really a victory? I don't think so. That's why I only vote in categories that I've read, They didn't have a cookbook category this year. I didn't see one anyway. Not that I would have read any of them this year anyway, but I always like that category because I want to see what new cookbooks are out. Ina Garten's almost always on the list and does really well. Anyway, she's one that I really enjoy her, but I'm also not going to just vote for her book just because it's, somebody I like from TV, I take the GoodReads Awards with a grain of salt because some of those books have such a wide gap between the number of people who have rated it and the number of people who voted for it. I mean, like, you might have 3,000 people read it, but 10,000 voted for it. That makes it real suspicious, makes it more of, it's probably the popularity contest thing. Oh, we're voting because we like this author, and we'll vote for anything that they write. That's why a lot of times, like, Stephen King usually wins his categories. This time I'm surprised he didn't. But a lot of people will vote anything that he does, even if it's in the wrong category, which several times that's happened. They put it in the wrong category, so he takes a category he shouldn't even be in. And it's purely because people are voting for his name and not necessarily the book. Because if you're voting properly and something's in the wrong category, you don't vote for for it in that category. Because, like, if it's more of a sci-fi book or a fantasy book, because he does write books that trend those directions more than horror, and they stick it in horror, then you're not voting for a horror book, So, the GoodReads Awards, you kind of take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, there's some good ones in there. There's some great books listed. But then again, there's a lot of stuff that gets left out because they don't get a lot of reading, popularity. Um, they don't really do like a literary fiction category. It's all the fictions just lumped together. If they did literary fiction, then maybe things like the books that were on the Booker Prize shortlist would have been on there. I thought The Trees was phenomenal. I don't know if that came out end of 2021 or if it came out in 2022, but I think it should have been listed somewhere either year. Glory, I haven't read it yet, but it's been getting these rave reviews. Except from Jack in the Books, he hates it. 7 Moons of Molly Almeida, which is the book that actually won the prize. You're not seeing it anywhere. And I think part of that is, like, in the United States, it didn't get released until really late this year. The audiobook still hasn't been released here. They've released it in the UK, but I can't get access to it because I don't live in the UK. And I think that's stupid. I want the audiobook, people. Come on, Audible, put it on your list. Make it available. But for whatever reason, right now it's region locked. You can only get it like in the UK and Europe. And I'm like, but we want to read it here too. So I think books like that, they're getting a disservice because they're not getting pushed here. And I think it sounds like a really fun, interesting book. So I think there's a lot of hit and miss going on with the GoodReads Awards. And not just because it's stuff that I don't read. I mean, it'd be nice if they could represent all of us, but we all read different things. And I don't necessarily read the biggest, most pushed books. I've been reading a lot of backlist stuff this year, so I'm debating whether to do the challenge that's going on right now. I need to look into it a little more before I make a decision. But there are people doing a 500 book challenge where they're not allowed to buy new books until they've read 500 books off their own shelves. I'm thinking, yeah, I've got enough books to do that. I'm probably looking at that many with my bookshelf there. But I don't know if that is not acquiring any new books at all or any books at all in any way, or is that strictly just you buying books? Because, if you're gifted books, if, like I go to the Little Free Library all the time. I was always dropping stuff off when I finish it and picking stuff up if it looks interesting. I mean, I did a whole book haul not that long ago where I picked up a ton of stuff out of there. So does that count as against the new books thing? Because if you can't acquire any books, then I have a problem. But if it's just purchasing books, I can do that. I don't have to purchase books because I get them from other sources. I get them from the library. I get them from the Little Free Library. I get them, sometimes I win them on GoodReads. So I'm not buying the new books. I also know that with my current rate of reading, which is very slow right now, I may not make 100 books a year. So we're looking at 5 years with no buying books, possibly, unless I change jobs. So I don't know if I'm going to do that challenge yet or not. If I do, I don't even know where I would start. I've got so many. I'll probably start with my pile of manga, which will lead me into another tangent. The November Manga Spice Cafe box that I have been waiting for to arrive apparently was delivered on November 26th, and I never received it. It appears that somebody has stolen it out of my mailbox. So we are now currently in conversation with the post office, Manga Spice Cafe themselves, and I guess I now have to file a police report because it's stolen merchandise. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. So I was really looking forward to it. The reason I even went back to subscribing to that box is because there was a Hayao Miyazaki manga in it that I really, really wanted to read. And that box is nowhere to be found. Mega Spice said, contact your post office, which I was going to do anyway. And they don't know that if they even have that another box available to send out. Because, they only create a limited number of boxes, so they don't have a whole bunch of extra. So my response was, okay, I went to the post office. They told me to file a police report, but that they can't help me because they're showing that it was delivered to the right location. And, it's out of their hands if it got stolen. Except that they lately have been setting my packages just inside my gate where anybody walking by can see them. And if, you're walking by and you see a box, it's very tempting to just pick it up and take it. There was also a day where when I got home from work, the door to the mailbox was sitting open, which I think was probably the day that it was delivered. And, what can I do? It's gone. So now it's either I have to have some sort of resolution to this. So hopefully either they refund the money, they move it to, I get the January box instead of the November box, or they substitute a different box from earlier in the year if they don't have the current box to reship. One way or another, I gotta recoup my losses. I mean, we're looking at $44, I can't afford to lose that. I've got other things I could spend that money on. So I'm really frustrated. And I've only had one hell of a week. I don't want to go any farther into it right now, but that was like the icing on the cake yesterday when the post office is like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. They're like, but y'all are the ones that are leaving it out where people can get it instead of bringing it up to the house like you used to do. Oh, well, if they have to open a gate, then they're not allowed to. They have to open the gate to set the stuff inside the gate. So don't tell me they're not allowed to open the gate. They're opening the gate to set the stuff inside it. But they can't walk a couple feet to put it up by the house? Seriously? And the gate across the driveway is always open. I never close it. They could, pull up to where they're crossing the end of my driveway and bring the stuff up. That's more direct than coming in the gate next to the mailbox, because then they have to walk across the yard. Where this, they just walk up the driveway to drop it off at the door that it's supposed to be at. So, well, I'll talk to our driver, but, there's no guarantee that they'll bring it up to your house. We can hold your packages for you. Fine, that's great. You can hold my future packages, but that doesn't solve the problem of the fact that this one was stolen. And I was waiting for it, I was giving them the benefit of the doubt that maybe it's taking a little longer because of the holidays and all. But very frustrated. And I really don't like their whole attitude of, well, it's not our problem. Yeah, it kind of is. It's your service that screwed up. So now I'm hoping that my package that's supposed to arrive actually gets here. Got an email saying it's supposed to arrive tomorrow, so I'm hoping I actually get it. Because again, it's another package that is a significant, to me, a significant amount of money. I do all these videos, but I'm not monetized. I don't have enough. You gotta have 1,000 subscribers and so much watch time. We're up to 72 subscribers, which I think is fantastic. Or at least that's what it was a day or two ago. I'm guessing it still is. But, I think that's fantastic. I'm really happy to have new people. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the family. But but I mean, if I'm only at 72 people, there's no way I'm ever going to get monetized at this rate. Because I've been doing this for I don't know how many years. And, yeah, I kind of like having a small channel in a way. I think it sucks that they still put ads on my stuff, even though I'm not making any money at it. I don't think that's fair, but it is. YouTube is a business, so I guess they're looking at it as, well, hey, we're giving you a platform. We need to make a little something, something. So I get why they do it. It's just, it's not fair if I'm not getting anything from it. Anyway, I think I hear Neko Fluttershy out there wandering around. And we gotta go do fun, exciting stuff like laundry today. And go file a police report at the sheriff's office, which is one street over from the laundromat. So while the stuff is washing, I can go take care of business. I need to go talk to the lawyer anyway, find out why probate's not moving ahead. I got stopped the other night because I have expired tags on my car, and luckily they gave me a warning because I explained to them that they're not letting me buy or renew the tags because it's in my dad's name and we're still trying to get it through probate, and they won't let me do it. I've tried and they said no. So yeah, that's where we are on that. Not getting anywhere. So I need to light a fire under the lawyer's butt and say, look, let's get this done. So frustrated. It's been that kind of a week. Might as well tell you everything that's happened. I've already told you most of it. Okay, so I ordered stuff back October 2nd, and the tracking number they gave me says active, not shipped, and that's well over 2 months now. So I talked to them at the bank. They turned off my debit card, and hold on, we'll be ready. I'll get stuff ready to go. We got to go do laundry and go to the sheriff's office and go to the lawyer's office and all that. So, yeah, fun.
As long as you give food afterwards.
I put a roast in the crock pot. If you would have been up this morning, we could have gone and gotten breakfast at Wendy's and used up some of those coupons.
Yeah.
Anyway. Where was I?
Yeah, something about the box that you had bought the Halloween place.
So, the stuff was all for Halloween. Here it is, middle December. Still haven't gotten it. So I talked to them at the bank. They have to turn off my debit card because... And then they're going to reissue a new one because they've got all that information. They could access my account at any time now. And luckily they haven't. But we're doing a dispute, so they're going to fight the company and get me my money back. That's like $42 and change, almost $43. So why is it this $40 amount that is the problem? So there's that. I hit a deer the other night on my way to work. Luckily, it's just cosmetic damage to the car. There's a dent, but it's a 20-year-old car. It's going to have a dent. I had seen a deer, and I hit my brake because I was afraid it was going to run out in front of me. That wasn't the deer I needed to worry about. It was the one I didn't see that was on the other side of the road next to the guardrail that darted across, and there was nothing I could do at that point. I was already braking, luckily. If I would have hit it at full speed, I would have really tore out my car. I clipped it. I saw it go down, and then it stood up and ran off. So I guess it wasn't damaged terribly bad to be a problem then. It may have run off into the woods and died or something. I don't know. I felt really bad. I was real shaken up because by the time I turned onto my client's road, the fog was coming in, and I was not terribly far from his house, and another deer ran right out in front of me. I almost hit it. So by the time I got there, I was just shaking. I was like, this is bad. And then the next night, I got pulled over because of the expired tags. Luckily, they let me off with a warning, but they were like, be careful because if somebody different pulls you over, they may not be so nice. So I was like, thank you, I appreciate it. And now they're running around with this package that was supposedly delivered, but nobody has seen hide nor hair of. And the post office, nothing we can do, even though part of the problem was them. It's been one hell of a week. So I'm afraid to go out of the house right now because what if something else happens? But I have to do laundry. I'm down to one pair of underwear and no pants for work. So I have to go do laundry. I can't go to work naked. No, I can't. So, anyway, that's where we're at right now. Sorry about this random, weird tangent, life update bullshit nonsense at the end, but for those of you who like tangents, there you go. That's a whopper of one. So I guess I need to go since he's up and about, and we need to get some lunch and do some laundry and, fun and exciting things. We're having roast for dinner. Put the roast in the crock pot. I love my crock pot. Having a lifestyle like I've got right now, crock pot's probably my best friend because I can throw something in at midnight or 11 o'clock before I go to work and it's ready to go when I get home. So breakfast may be what normal people would eat for supper, but I mean that's my schedule is weird. So is my camera moving? I know every time I touch the table it shakes a little, but did it just move? It looked like the background moved. Anyway, I gotta get off of here. So we will see you in the next one. Remember to do all the YouTube things. Comment, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell icon to be notified of future uploads, maybe. And we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.